Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new week of ENC 1102. Time is flying. We are essentially about halfway through the semester, and I know it's a short one. So, if you have any questions or concerns about stuff that we have done so far, um, let me know. I'm happy to try to help, but it is only a 7-week course, and so it does tend to fly by. So let's take a look at what is happening this week in the course. First, we'll look at the calendar. Also, just a reminder, don't forget that our awesome librarian, Nora Rackley, is also sending out announcements. So make sure that you have viewed all the announcements. So just a reminder there. So we are entering, of course, week 4, and that means literally over halfway through. Well, right there. We're halfway through. Anyway, we're halfway through. Uh, and this week we are starting in earnest working on the poetry paper and also starting to look ahead at drama. Now, I know this is why taking the fast courses in the summer can be a little bit like getting whiplash because it is very quick. But this week you're going to be turning in the bibliography for the poetry paper. And you're going to be talking about drama on the discussion board. Now, you do not have to have read the entire play, The Glass Menagerie, by the end of this week. That's really what next week is for. But I do want you to go ahead and look at the author biography. I can talk sometimes, and the critical responses in the LibGuide to help you prepare for the play. Okay, so that will help you there. You're also going to be doing some additional research on drama, just in curiosity about how drama kind of intersects with the real world, so to speak. And you're essentially working towards finishing your poetry paper. Now, the poetry paper itself is not due until the end of next week. Next week, you will have the full poetry paper and the um, drama presentation, sharing your thoughts on drama. So, again, there's some overlap here. Typically, in a 16-week semester, we would not have this much overlap. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I am sorry. I wish there was something I could do about it, but it is only a 7-week course, so we do have to have some overlap. So let's take a look at this week's module. Everything is there. The the readings and resources are still missing right now for 5 and 6. So I will be posting those this week. I need to finish the lecture videos and I haven't had time. So we'll get them there. So if you are one who wants to look ahead, I promise I will have that available to you ASAP. But anyway, this week we're going to be using Unit 4, which of course is available. You're going to read the author bio and the critical responses for The Glass Menagerie. There's a link, of course, that takes you directly to the drama page for that. You're going to watch, of course, my video and that you're watching right now, and you're going to have the lecture on the elements of drama, along with some additional readings and resources about drama. I did not relink the poetry information, but you should have already chosen the 2 poems that you wrote about in the discussion board. You need to narrow that down usually to one. Now, you can write about both in your poetry paper. So remember, as you are thinking about the bibliography, note that you are essentially getting ready for the poetry paper, and it has to be about poems that we covered. So there was a few folks who got confused about that in the fiction unit. You can't just pick a poem that you like. I'm sorry, but you just can't. But I do have the bibliography video linked for you, as well as a sample poetry annotated bibliography. You can download this document and use it. The annotated bibliography formatting template is also in the library's information. Remember, it has to be in alphabetical order. Uh, a lot of people kind of divided things up by type of source. Don't do that. It's just one list with the full MLA citations and the annotations. So I would use this document as my sample because it's already set up for the poetry unit. Um, anyway, so there it is. It's available for you. You can download it. There is a link to the Citation Center, though, which is this is where you would find all of the up-to-date current information about MLA, which of course is what we're using. All right, so let's take a look at the assignments. First one is the discussion board. Actually, the first one listed is the preliminary bibliography, but I want to look at the drama first. I want to look at the discussion board first. Drama in particular has for a long time been a place for social commentary. The Glass Menagerie, of course, explores social and cultural themes of the 30s, including economic hardships, gender roles, and the fading ideals of the Old South, all while examining the character struggles with memory, illusion, and escape. The play also reflects on the impact of the Great Depression and the limitations faced by individuals, especially women, in a rapidly changing society. So, in this particular discussion, your job is to consider and do some research on the interplay of drama and society. Obviously, you can do some preliminary talk about the Glass Menagerie, even though you have not read it fully yet, but you're going to be reading the criticism, so you will be able to use that. Find at least one other play, preferably something fairly new, which offers social commentary and criticism. I will tell you that there is some inspiration here for that you can look at. My personal picks would be Hamilton or Six, both of which are fairly new and both of which cover political issues from really olden times, but also social and cultural issues. So take a look at that. As you discuss the plays, of course, here are some thought questions to kind of guide you. How do themes of power, identity, or social inequality reflect current societal challenges, and what can modern audiences learn from the character struggles or decisions? In what ways did the gender roles or family dynamics portrayed in the plays mirror or challenge today's cultural norms and expectations? And how do the cultural uh, or historical settings of each play influence the characters' actions, and how might these influences compare to modern day cultural pressures or conflicts? So take some time with that. As you can see, Michael's already posted. I think we only have the one. Yep. Go, Michael. He's always ahead. So bravo. Um, so there we go. Take a look at that. And then let's talk about the bibliography. So the bibliography, of course, is based on the poetry paper. So if you open the assignment for the preliminary bibliography, you will also get a link to the poetry paper assignment. So you should read the assignment guide for the poetry paper thoroughly before tackling the bibliography. Okay. You are writing a paper, selecting one poem or no more than two that you will analyze using close reading. You'll talk about the theme, the speaker and tone, all of those kinds of elements that we learned about that are specific to poetry. You will also be using actual secondary sources from the library. A lot of people did not use a single library source in the initial bibliography for the fiction paper, and that is a huge problem because there's research that's already been done for you. So you don't even have to start from scratch. Okay. So please utilize the sources that are available to you. Um, there are tons of them in the poetry unit as well. Now, that doesn't mean you can't also research online, but you do need to use good resources. Several people had included citations for sources that are of literally a questionable nature, such as the Wikipedia article. Look, I love Wikipedia. I use it almost every day, but it's not an academic source. Other people had used sources from websites such as gradesaver.com, which is literally a site that helps people cheat. So please use good resources. Just do. Okay. So other than that, it's the same principle. You've done one of these before. You will have a 10, you will have 10 total sources. You will have the poem or poems. You might have two primary sources this time. And then you'll have your secondary sources and two to three tertiary sources, things like encyclopedias and that sort of stuff. So you'll have the full MLA citation, the brief annotation, and that's it. Okay. The samples are all over the place. The templates are all over the place. So please utilize them and do not hesitate to reach out if you have questions, even if they're questions of a technical nature. I can probably help you with your Word documents. If you prefer to use Google Docs, you certainly can. You can open that document in Google. So if you've got that document saved on your computer, you can open it in Google and it will not mess up the formatting typically. Google and Word do communicate pretty well with each other. So, again, I can help if you let me know. Take care, everybody. Have a great week 4. Yeah, week 4. Week 4. Have a good one, guys.